Also, wasn't Team Flare also have some like planet-destroying planet? Weren't they trying to like shoot a laser at the planet or something crazy and blow it up?
So they were almost cool, Team Flare, because what was his name again? Lysander. Lysander actually, once again, as a forefront and a facade, very successful, and he was actually a really good businessman. Because what he did is he made a lot of gadgets that helped with like the society of what Kalos was all about. He made a lot of like electronics. He helped people like reform their peace, and he was like always like a head front like guy in front of the news all the time. And he helped people like try to recognize like true beauty within themselves. His whole thing was about beauty. And the problem with him
Was that he was an X and Y?
The problem with him, you see, we have this debate because I actually kind of like X and Y, and he doesn't like it at all.
Nope.
The problem with Lysander is he went cuckoo crazy after doing all these realistic things that he did that were actually pretty cool. But then he has to say, oh,
he had the orbital laser. Yeah, the orbital laser.
He had the orbital laser that shot a meteor in space.
Yep.
It shot a meteor in space and then created a big giant dimensional what-if scenario that was actually, okay, I'll admit, this was kind of cool. It was kind of canon in its own way. Because he shot the laser at the meteor, as crazy as that sounds, it created a giant, like, timeline for all the Pokemon games that actually linked them together, which they explained in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which is the first time that one of the remakes was actually canon and not just simply a remake. It's actually considered different than Ruby and Sapphire. They acknowledge that in the game, that there is actually a different dimension, an alternate Hoenn, and like the stories were actually like, okay, the split between when the meteor was shot and when the meteor wasn't shot.
I see.
So what
the main timeline is the meteor not getting shot or whatever?
It actually got split with the Game Boy games. They actually made that a thing. That when the end of Emerald version, that was the time with the Grand Meteor, which created Pseudopolis City. And then there was the alternate line where the meteor was shot, which was in X and Y during the DS era.
So did they do a Zelda timeline thing? Is that what happened with Pokemon?
That's actually what happened.
Great.
Yes.
Fantastic.
It's because of Lysander. He shot the meteor.
He shot the meteor. That's
with his giant laser. And then AZ comes out of nowhere, the giant that's 1,000 years old, shows up because he's like, "Oh, you have created a rift." And then it's also Lysander's fault as to why there was a rift. That was it. That was the Sun and Moon canon. It was Lysander's fault for making a rift in the dimensions and caused the Ultra Beast to come to Alola.
X and Y is bad. You have not changed my opinion. You've only made it worse.
X and Y is the Ocarina of Time. It caused
the Ocarina of Time of Pokemon. I didn't know this before, and I wish I didn't. Thank you for sharing this with me.